any questions that you guys have about business, I'm live now also, so we've got 2 live things going on.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous, so you could see a live within a live. Dude.
Yeah, I should have turned mine sideways too.
Yeah, I actually learned that the hard way, right?
Yeah.
So I got the one and only Lonnie Robinson here. We just had breakfast at, this is a pretty awesome place here.
Oh, man.
It's called Dame's Chicken and Waffles. So what did you think about it?
It was wonderful. I tell you what, not only did we have like some incredible conversations, but the staff was
good.
They were awesome. They made great recommendations, and food was good, and conversation was great. And I'm going to come back. We talked about that earlier. We talked about how you can leverage your friendships, your clients, to connect and to also recommend people to offers and opportunities.
Absolutely.
It's just an amazing thing, and the power of that.
You know, and I think you brought up a good point. You said something really good so we were talking about what makes a good leader, right? What makes a good leader in business. And so I've got a staff that is both physical and virtual. And we're talking about how do you bring your staff in closer to you so that they support the whole movement, right? The whole movement of your company, and not just your company, but like your vision. So, and you had some good recommendations. I think one of them was just to get to know them, right? To get to know their personality, get to know some of the things that they like, that they don't like, get to know, what it is that are some of their drivers. So do you want to mind talking about that a little bit?
I'll be glad to elaborate on it. Yeah, a lot of times when we are running our businesses, it's business as usual. But, the temperature of business now is not what it was 10, 20 years ago. It's changed because people are not buying products and services for the purpose of buying products and services.
Right.
They can do that anywhere. They buy from people that they know, like, and they trust. So if you want to establish that, if you want to be able to raise your brand awareness and also interact and connect with your audience, you need to spend time and get to know them.
So they're buying you. They're buying more into you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were talking about some ways that you can do that. Ty says he doesn't like for people to do a lot of chatter.
Right. Well, in the office, that is.
In the
right?
office,
so the team, right?
In the office.
I don't like the chatty patties when you're in the office, and but I think your approach on that was pretty good, right? You want them to react.
You want them to chat because what you want to become part of that conversation.
Right.
You want to, and here's how you do that. You spend time with them. You take them out. Like a prime example, I said, hey, Ty, if you're going out to get some supplies or something, find the guy who does all the chatting. Say, hey, Joe,
let's take a ride.
Let's take a ride.
Right.
And then you laugh and talk, and you get to know them.
Yeah.
They get to know more about you. You start to become a human being instead of a boss.
Just a boss, right?
Yeah, just a boss. So
they see another side of you.
They see another side. So here's why I say you want to influence and keep that chat going. You can influence it by, being a likable person.
Gotcha. Okay.
Building that trust, making them comfortable, because now they'll chat about you and how awesome you are. Ty's not really like that stuffy guy we thought he was. It's back in the office back there.
He doesn't just want to work me, right?
He's a cool guy. We just listened to some good music, and we were hanging out, having a good time, and man, let's get to work. So that's what the chat becomes about.
Gotcha. So let's
like, hey, we got to do a great job.
Because now at this point, right, they built up some type of a rapport, and I'm going to turn the AC on a little bit, but they now feel more accountable, right?
Yeah,
for making sure that the company moves forward.
Right.
So that kind of makes sense, right?
So Facebook and companies like Google, they're doing that now on a big scale. As a matter of fact, they're doing it to the point where they really lean into the advice of their team.
Gotcha.
Google has had more successes and more failures than most digital businesses that we know.
And most people don't realize that.
People don't realize that. And a lot of that has been influenced by the ideas of their team.
Gotcha. So I think that's important too. So is just being able to speak to your team and give them an opportunity to talk, right? I think as leaders, we get so used to being on the totem pole, right? And we're the ones that are projecting the ideas instead of getting your team involved and allowing them to have some feedback, because I mean, especially depending on who's on your team, you could get some really good insights, right?
And not only that, you actually are able to put people in a better position to perform better,
Right.
because now you start to identify their strengths.
Right.
So some people, there's a lot of people that are out there that are in the wrong positions. And
Out of need.
yes,
More than anything.
out of need.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what you'll discover is that there's different personalities. They have different superpowers, as I like to call it. And you're able to use that and leverage it in your business.
Gotcha.
And plus, on top of that, they're enjoying what they're doing.
Got it. So I got Leonard Nesmith is on here. He's saying leadership is huge. So Len, you're in a position of leadership right now. I know you've been in that position for a few decades. What are some of your big takeaways when it comes to just being a good leader and getting the most out of your people?
Well, like I said, be likable, be approachable. One of the things I did when I was in the sailor industry is that, my birthdays became their birthdays. My celebrations became wins for them as well. So what we would do with our staff as well as our clients is we would have like birthday parties. We'd have like,
and this is staff and clients who invited.
Staff and clients and their families.
Got it.
And we would invite them.
Yeah.
And you know what happens? You stay front of mind.
Yeah.
When they need more options, they come back and they shop with you. And you also build that experience with your team that they just want to stay. Remember I said there could be a guy down the street paying them that's willing to pay them more money, but money becomes like the secondary element.
Gotcha.
Because now they're working with someone that they trust and they respect.
They have a rapport. You know more. You know a little bit about them. They know a little bit more about you. So now they're more vested into it, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It makes total sense. So let's just shift gears really quickly. You on the way here, right? We're driving and having conversations, and as many of you guys know, I'm big on having that morning routine, right? I think that the way you start your morning dictates how your day flows. And Lonnie, you should. Your 20-20-20, which I thought was fascinating, and we have some similarities in how we kind of do that. But why don't you talk about your 20-20-20 real quick?
I will. Great. Thanks a lot for that. So with 20-20-20, what I do is I spend time on myself. A lot of times we make excuses for not having time for ourselves because life happens. We have families. We have jobs, we got
the kids, we got the commitments. Right?
Yeah, we got the husband or spouse that needs to tie that tie or find that missing shoe.
Yeah.
And we spend...
Or they need something else.
Right. right. So we spend a lot of our time, especially in the morning.
Is that part of the 20?
Well, it can be.
Okay.
That's another 20. That's another 20. All
right. So stay focused. Stay focused.
Yeah, no, right.
Stay focused.
Right. So with that, what I do is I intentionally spend 60 minutes a day on me.
Right.
And I do it in an uninterrupted chunk of time.
Okay.
So the first 20 minutes of that is devoted to reflection. And what reflection, is devoted to movement. And what movement basically includes is
Michael,
up,
how are you?
Yeah, getting up and having those 2 glasses of water. You need 2 glasses of water.
So hydrated.
Ty's always got it.
I've always got water. I actually brought a water for you. I forgot we jumped right into conversation this morning and we forgot about it. But hyperhydration, right?
Yeah. And Ty's always got water, and I got water.
Yeah.
I
keep waters on my nightstand. I keep them on the bathroom counter first thing in the morning. So to give credit to what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
First thing in the morning, I'm hyperhydrating, right?
Right.
And then, so that's part of that whole movement. Exercise.
It's part of the movement. You want to have a little exercise. You want to just kind of get around. Sometimes you want to move around the room and get that done.
Go ahead. So Rob Mullen says that Lonnie challenged me to do a 20-20-20 for 66 days.
Look at that.
He was just talking about the 66 days too, right? So he's on day 26 so far. It's been a powerful way to start my day. So there you go.
That's awesome.
That's a thank you.
And it works. In the 66 days, statistics show that if you commit yourself to anything for 66 days, it becomes secondary. It becomes a part of your DNA. It becomes something that you unconsciously begin to involve yourself in that process and execute. without saying, oh, I've got to do this. It just happens.
It just happens. So I want to talk about that too. After we finish the 20. So now you're talking about, for the first 20 minutes is you're getting this movement done. Yep. You're hyperhydrating, right? You're getting the water in your body before the coffee, before we talked about this, right? Before the orange juice. Not that those things are bad, but the priorities are getting the water in there first, right? And so the reason why I do it is just to get that cellular movement going, right? So to replenish your cells in your body. As we're sleeping overnight, our body tends to get dehydrated, right?
Yes.
So we want to really get that to the point where we're back up. It's easier if you're not a morning person, right? Just getting that hydration in the morning helps you to wake up, helps to enliven you a little bit more. So your first 20 is the exercise and hydration. And then after that, what's your next 20?
The next thing that we do is called reflection. And reflection is very essential, is a very essential part. So reflection gives you the opportunity to look back on the course of the previous day, look at what's happened, what has transpired, what has, the conversations you've had.
Right.
And reflection allows you to say, hey, how could I have handled that differently? What was that experience like? And what can I do to make it better in the future? So this is not only about things that go on at home or things that go on at work, but it's about the conversations you're having. It's about the interactions you're having with people, even at a grocery store.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes we do, as you know, we do and say the wrong thing sometimes.
And we're not even thinking about it.
And we're not thinking about
no
it.
malicious intent or anything, right?
Yeah. So what that does is it makes you just a stronger person who's just kind of, in yourself and in everything that's around you. Want to give you a prime example. I told you this earlier, Ty. I shared this with you. Nelson Mandela spent 20.
Hey, can I get on your live, man? You hogging up all your live there.
I'm sorry.
This brother's going live too.
Every time I turn my head, it's going.
This brother's going live, but his live is just like this. He's just
I know, right?
And you see me? No, I'm just kidding. I'm giving him a hard time here.
See, I should have turned it sideways. It won't let me now. But
this guy, you gotta watch him.
I know,
you gotta watch him.
That's true.
So you're talking about Nelson Mandela.
And, he spent 26 years in prison, and in a very, I think it was 8 foot by 6 foot cell.
Yeah.
And he was in solitude, and he had time to reflect.
Right.
And it really made him a boss, because the guy came out and became the president of South Africa.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people could have been bitter about that, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you took, almost 30 years of my life, or they could have looked at it, hey, life is over now.
It's the end.
Because he wasn't a young man when he got out.
No.
Right?
It's the end for me.
Yep. So perspective, right?
Absolutely. So, I mean, and you can handle these things in several different ways. You can do journaling. You can take notes via your phone. Just, hey, this is what I've learned from this. And here's the game plan for making that better.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the final 20.
So reflection, I just want to stay with that for a second.
Okay.
This guy is trying to get away here, all right? But he's dropping. Listen, I've taken so many notes in our, 3 hours that we've been together that literally are going to change my business, right? And I told that.
Yeah,
I shared that
definitely.
with you, right? And so I told, here's the thing. If you're looking to advance in life in any way, it could be life, it could be business, you take a guy out that has experiences, right? You take him out to dinner. Or you take them out to lunch, right? You take them out to breakfast. And in my case, I prefer dinner. And, you get him out there, you buy him the biggest steak that he could eat, right? Because it's going to take him time to chew through that. First, you start with the appetizers. And then you buy him the biggest steak. And then after that, dessert. Hey, you want dessert? Hey, let's get some coffee. You want it, right? Because that's going to be the best investment that you'll ever make. Right? Especially if you get someone whose brain you can pick. I've gotten maybe about 3 or 4 ideas from Lonnie. Maybe I shouldn't even be saying this right now, because he's going to end up sending me a bill. But but that's how it works. So the first 20 is exercise, hydration, right?
Movement.
The movement. The next 20 is reflection, right? So how could you have done things differently? We talked about gratitude. So getting out of bed, and the first thing that you say is thank you, right? For me, that reflection is, I'm looking out of the window at my house sometimes. I grew up in very modest means, and we grew up in one of the worst neighborhoods and things like that. So just being grateful for being alive, right?
Yeah.
I look at my wife and being grateful for having a wife and my children, and, just being here in one of the countries where we could, regardless of the foolishness that might be going on from time to time, we could literally do whatever it is that you want, right?
We have that freedom. Yeah.
We have that freedom. And, you know, being grateful for individuals like you, the guys and the gals that are watching, or being grateful for the network, the relationships, like people like yourself. And then the next thing is, what's the last 20?
So the final 20 is learning.
Learning, okay.
And
gotcha.
it's laser focused learning. A lot of times we pick up a book or we go and look at the news and all those things. No, you want to really hone in on your craft, and you want to make that your part of your superpower. So basically, you want to know everything there is to know about what you're doing in business and in life.
Gotcha.
And it's intended. It's learning that's laser focused on that.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to being a leader, or it comes to being a CEO of a company or an entrepreneur who owns a business, you want to stay in the know of what it is that you need to know.
Gotcha.
As it relates to not only your people, but as it relates to the industry, as it relates to your competition.
The product or service that you're selling.
Products and services.
Gotcha.
Right. We were talking earlier. What was the thing that we were saying about that? We were talking about Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Now, I want you guys to think about this. Muhammad Ali, when you think about some of the people that he fought, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Ken Norton, these guys were big. They were solid. They were brawlers.
Very muscular guys,
But you look at Muhammad Ali, and he was kind of an average guy.
Yep, very toned, not really built out.
No George Foreman or Ken Norton muscles or no big George Foreman, strength. This dude's like Hercules.
But he took those guys down.
He took those guys down.
Yeah.
And the thing is that he intentionally learned his craft. He didn't perfect it. He didn't want to perfect it. He wanted to be the best at it, and he understood his competition. And he prepared both physically and mentally for that. Yeah. And he created a laser-focused plan for each one of those guys and the other many guys that he beat.
Yeah. And took one on at a time, and understanding them, understanding their fighting styles, understanding him. So the same thing applies to business, right? You're saying, understand your market, understand who your product or your service is serving, right? And then understand the industry, so you can continue to evolve. So it's super important.
So you're embracing all those things.
All of those things, right.
Embrace your competition.
Gotcha. And 20 minutes dramatically gives you a huge one-up, right, on your competition, because most people are not doing that on a consistent daily basis, right? So,
we say, well, 20 minutes, 20, 60 minutes doesn't seem like a lot of time. It's a lot more time than you think, because it's more time than you've ever in life given yourself permission to do something that's laser focused on you.
Yeah.
So the key here is to get up an hour earlier.
So that was going to be my next question. So now everyone's got busy lives, right? You have children, you've got businesses, you have commitments, you have significance, wives, husbands. How do you get that time? So that's it, is to get up an hour earlier, right?
Now here's what happens. And Ty asked me, why an hour early? Why not at night?
Right.
Here's what happens when you get up an hour earlier. When you get up an hour earlier, chances are, and I want you guys to really think about this, chances are you're the only person up.
Right.
You're the only person up.
In your household. Everyone else is still getting that 1 hour of sleep, so you've got some quiet time, you've got some solitude.
Yeah.
And you could, if you really go in and say, hey, listen, and I think it starts with the night before, right? So you saying that tomorrow morning I'm waking up at 6, and it becomes this habit, it becomes this routine. You talked about the 66 days, right? Doing anything consistently for 66 days becomes ingrained in you.
Yes.
Where you're not even thinking about it anymore. Right? You're jumping up and you're doing it.
You're getting it done. Right. And so if you think about the time, like we said, 60 minutes doesn't seem like a lot. Yeah. But it is a lot, because it's uninterrupted chunks of time. It's an uninterrupted time that you don't have to worry about, the kids.
You got quiet
the spouse. Time. You got that quiet time, and you might as well use it to your advantage to make you a bigger boss.
Super, super smart.
Yeah.
And the one thing I would add on to that is setting up your environment, right? So that you can maximize that time. So when you do get up, now you have you've got your bottles of water or whatever
Right,
it is
right.
on your nightstand or wherever it is. So now you're not wasting time going down to the kitchen, right, to grab
Right.
that, because that can add
Yeah.
on 2 or 3 minutes, or it could take away 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes.
Sure.
The other thing is, you have your plan for exercising. You've got the content that you're going to learn, so it's there. So it's like Lonnie said, very smart what he said, and that was intentional learning. One of the things that I've been doing over the last couple of months is avoiding unintentional learning. Right? So unintentional learning. So if I'm learning right now, I'm in the process of where I'm studying more about building out teams to the point where I could build businesses that don't require me being directly involved, right?
Right.
So I've been intentionally learning about that stuff, and I always get people that recommend books to me, right? So now what I'll do is, before in the past, I would, especially if the book looked good or if the audio looked good, I would instantly go in and buy it.
Right.
Now that
yeah.
sets you on the path of unintentional learning now. And now you're down a different rabbit hole. So now it's only things that are going to take me in the direction of the goal that I'm going into, right? And you see a huge change when you start to do that.
Yeah, and you know, that definitely correlates to the practices I see many marketers making in their businesses. They're buying these, and people call them shiny objects. I don't know if I like that anymore.
Shiny objects.
Because shiny objects, we've given it a bad overtone.
Right.
Actually,
right.
a shiny object can be something pretty powerful
Yeah.
and profitable in your business, that if you use it correctly. So they're buying these products and services because of the value, the discount, the scarcity. It ends Sunday at midnight.
Yeah.
They're buying these products and services, but they don't have a real business
Right.
to put in it. So it's like buying pieces of 5 or 6 different puzzles and trying to fit them together. It will never work.
Because you're not at that point yet, or
Well, here's you need to set a foundation
gotcha.
of principles about which say, hey, this is what I want to do in business. This is the market that I'm going to serve, and this is how I'm going to provide value for them.
So whatever you're buying has to take you in that direction.
I need those components
Right.
to
Gotcha.
set that foundation to get that started.
Super
and
smart.
then once I've got that foundation set, how do I pull the pieces in, the products and services that I need to make that scalable?
Yeah, super smart. I think we'll close out on that one last note, because that was very powerful. I think a lot of people, and I see this, right? I've consulted a lot of business owners and people that want to get started with starting business, as have you. And people, you'll see, they come in and they don't know what their foundation is. They don't know where they want to go. Right. So starting off with knowing where it is that you want to go, that end result, it helps you to get there a lot quicker. It helps you to get there with more clarity. And it helps with the distraction. So when you see something else that comes into play, you could say, nope, is this in alignment with where I want to go?
Yeah.
I want to go to California,
Yeah.
but I see a television ad now that's talking about New Hampshire, and I'm in Florida.
Right.
New Hampshire doesn't get me to California if I go in and make that detour, right? So it's all about knowing exactly where you want to go and then having that foundation, as Lonnie said.
Yeah, you got to look at products shouldn't look for you.
You
need to look for the products.
Yep.
So when you've got that foundation, you need to look for those things that are going to add value to that.
Listen, that one thing right there will save a lot of time. It'll save you a lot of money, and it'll help you to get started a lot quicker. I am now going to close out this live because I want to pick Lonnie's brain, and I'm going to keep him off myself.
My man.
But hey, follow this guy. If you're not following Lonnie Robinson already, go in and follow him. This is a guy who I've known about for many, many, many years. We've probably known each other for what, maybe a decade or so?
At least.
On and off, right?
Yeah, at least.
And there's so many people. Listen, it's all about networking. I share that a lot with you guys, where even if you think you're the most introverted person, or you think you're not comfortable with getting around people or getting out there, sometimes you just need that one relationship. That one relationship and that one nugget that you get from that conversation, right, can change things for you. So there you go. Go follow Lonnie Robinson, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out.
Take care, guys. We love you. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Susan.
Chris, my brother Chris.